And I'm going to get going. So, welcome everybody. There's still some more people joining the room, which is all great. So, welcome to the second of the series of webinars for the Impact Toolkits program. And just for a bit of a recap, we're going to do this just for people who weren't here last time. So, I know that there are 10 sessions, people dipping into the ones that are most relevant or interesting, or planning to watch them back. We are allowing that as well because we realize that everyone consumes differently. And also that we're all really busy, as George and I were just saying. So, just a bit of a recap for those who didn't know, the Toolkit series has been created for Shape academics to increase the impact of their projects at all stages. And the series will provide you with all the information needed to share your projects across multiple channels in many mediums, from infographics to podcasts, webinars to websites. So it's like a creative inspiration series. We're not telling you what to do or how to do it. We're just saying, here's lots of amazing tools. Here's how to get the best out of them. Don't go down rabbit holes like George and I were just discussing with Canva because it's great fun. And it's designed to be a series to dip into as you need or work through. It's full of practical advice, peer examples, and hopefully plenty of inspiration. All the sessions are being recorded. They're all going to be on the series platform and will also be transcribed into long reads and key takeaways. Last week's are up there already, but because it was just a review of the series, it's a little bit different. We get into the meaty stuff now with George. Um, who am I? Very quickly, my name is Lucy Payne. I am the host for the series. I'm not going to be doing much talking after this because we have experts. I don't need me. I'm just here to look after you. I'll be keeping an eye on the chat and the Q&A, which George won't be able to see when he's presenting. So if you're going to put questions into the chat, he'll come back to them at moments when he pauses. That's the joy of unfortunately doing these webinars. You can't always see your screen, which I'm sure many of you realise. And my role, I work for TechSpark, which is Bristol and Bath tech community. I've worked with starting businesses and ventures in their journeys for the last 10 years. I was at 5 years at Sussex Innovation Service. So I've helped a lot of people move their ideas forward, whatever that may be. It may not be about commercialization. It could be reaching more people. It could be a not-for-profit. There's no right or wrong answer, but I've used all these tools that we're going to be talking about in the series, and I know the impact that visual communication makes and verbal to helping you reach more people in more ways. So that's me. Housekeeping, we are in webinar mode, so I'm going to see on the chat and the Q&A. The chat only comes to us, the panel and the hosts. Because this is being recorded, we're trying to create something that really focuses on the meaty information and guidance from our experts. So any recurring questions I will be answering in the follow-on information as well. What to expect? We have nine more. We've done number one, facilitated by experts, recorded and shared, and complemented by other resources. But we also want to hear from you. So last week in the chat, I asked you how many of you've used Canva, and it was 50-50. So it's a tool that people are aware of. Maybe all haven't used. Maybe people have never heard of it or a bit daunted by it. I mean, I remember pre-Canva when we had to use things like Adobe, and you actually almost had to be able to program to use these tools. They were highly frustrating, George. You just would spend hours and achieve nothing or look really amateurish, which obviously a lot of people made money out of. So there's a theme about all of this is there's a lot of cheats for those of us who don't have time or the skills to do create all these different resources. So what's coming up? There's more George next week. We have 3 weeks of you, George. We're going to be digging into your brain, creating infographics, better photography and video using phones. So we're half term, there's not going to be any sessions, and we get back into websites, which are going to be very lightly covered today. That Canva is a tool for that. Examples academic toolkits, and there's an ask of you all. I'd like you to send us through your examples or ones that you've seen that you think are really amazing or you've engaged with or reacted to or seen a momentum from. We're going to look into interactive tools to engage the audience, low code, no code, making podcasts, and then the tools and platforms to build your community. And this is a pilot series. This is our first run of these sessions. These are the poll that Robin Halpenny and I put together of what we thought would be the best place to start. So we also want your thoughts and feedback on what else we should cover if we are able to run a second in this series. So that's basically it from me. I get to stop talking now, George, and hand it over to you because we're going to hear all about Canva.
Great. Thank you so much, Lucy, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. It's nice to be delivering this session to you all today. I'm going to get my slides up now and get started because we have a limited amount of time. So it's a bit of a gallop through an introduction to Canva. So I understand that some of you will probably know a bit about Canva and some will know very little. So it's going to be useful for people who have no experience with it and also useful for people who have some because there might be some new stuff in here. Okay, just so you know, this is me. I'm George. I am a filmmaker by background. I think some information was passed around about what my background is. So I'm an ex-BBC filmmaker. I'm also an ex-academic, which is kind of why I combine both of these things. And I'm delivering courses for people who are also academics. Canva's amazing because we've all been to really poor talks by fellow academics where the slides are just all over the place or boring, messy. And Canva is a website that allows you to do all sorts of things. And I'm going to go through a whole bunch of them today. Talks, social media posts, websites, all kinds of things. I'm going to go through them all in a minute. But it makes your presentations look good. Basically, Canva is like working with a graphic designer to help you create amazing resources to promote your research, but that graphic designer is effectively free. So it's brilliant. The things I'm going to talk about today, there's 10 things. I'm going to first talk about the layout of Canva, how to create posters, websites, slides, diagrams, CVs, videos, social media posts. I'm going to talk a little bit about basics of design. And then I'm going to talk about the benefits of Canva Pro, which is only £13 a month. So you can sign up for 1 month, get the benefits, and then leave, which is what I have done in the past. But obviously, the more I use Canva, the more I just have a permanent account. Okay, this is what Canva looks like when you sign in. This is the kind of home page, and basically, there's this thing called Magic Studio, which is for people who are using Canva Pro, and it's slightly AI powered. It gives you a bunch of things down here that you might want to try to create. So you could just create a general document or a presentation, which is like slideshow, or videos, or Facebook post, Instagram story, Twitter post. So here's a list of just some of the things that you might want to try to create, and it will give you the option of doing those. A lot of these magic things down here they're kind of AI powered, so you might not use them if you're not using Canva Pro. So one of the things I'm going to do today is jump in and out of my slides and go to my website so you can actually see Canva being used for real. So this is Canva, and what you can see here is let's say I want to choose a thing that I'm going to create. I select a blank document, and over here, second is I can create elements, and I can go to all of these different elements, and I can either let's say, recently I put in dog. So let's say I search dog, and here's a bunch of different elements that come up that I can use. Graphics, photos, videos of dogs, for example. If it's got a little crown here, you can only use it if you are in Pro. But if you're not in Pro, then you use the ones without crowns. So for example, I just grab this and just stick it into my document, and then I can go and second. Here's a list of the different types of if I wanted to write something, I can just create a dog document, for example. And then I can, in some ways it's like Word, in some ways it's like PowerPoint, that you can just basically drag things onto your document and create it. But that's not what Canvas is really useful for. Canva is really useful for let me show you. Canva is really useful in this sort of way. Let's say I want to create a document, and I go to templates, and I look at document templates, for example. And here are all these different things that I can just grab and click on and just basically start like this. So I can change anything I want here. Second, so I can just change it to my own words. So biology, research. Let me go back to the design. So basically, sorry, it's gone a little bit funny. It's do apologize. So let's say, for example, this is a template, and Canva's great for having tens of thousands of templates for things that you can use. You know, you could start with this as something that you want to create for either a poster advertising a conference or a talk, but then you would just remove what they've got here, and then you might go to, you might go to elements, and you might go to your own images, so you could upload your own image. So let's say here's some images. Let's say I'm going to give a talk about tree kangaroos. I could just put that in here. There you go. And then I could, you know, put my website in here, whom to contact. So basically, Canva is amazing for having templates that look like they've been designed by graphic designers, and then you just basically customize it for your own use. And they just end up looking so much better than things that you would just design from scratch. Okay, great. I'm going to go back to my slides. Okay.
We all want a tree kangaroo now, George. That was the cutest thing.
Just so you know that at a push, I am probably one of the few world experts on tree kangaroos, having done an expedition to study tree kangaroos in 1991.
Wow, that's a whole nother webinar we need to do. Sorry, back to your slides.
They're very cute, but very hard to see in the wild.
Oh.
Okay, so part 2 is how to create posters. Before I go back into Canva to show you how to do it, I mean, in a way, that's what I was showing you a second ago. What's really important if you're creating a poster, and it could be a poster for advertising, almost, you know, it could be advertising a talk, it could be advertising for to try to recruit people into a study. It could be all kinds of things. There's all kinds of reasons to create posters. So I think the things to say about creating a poster is, number one, don't overwhelm people. Keep it simple. There's a temptation to just chuck loads and loads of stuff onto your poster, but the more simple it is, the more likely you are to grab people's attention. It's important to have a strong title. If you can tell a story with your poster, that's also really helpful. And don't just have tons and tons of text. Academics love just throwing tons of text at people, but actually give them the bare minimum you need to grab their attention and tell them what they need to know to come and find out more. And then break up the text. So here's an example that of a template that you can find on Canva for making a poster. For example, an academic poster for a conference. You've got a title, which is really important, and a subtitle. And then it's broken up into blocks to help the audience or the viewer not feel like they're just bombarded with information. There's an introduction box, the objective, the methodology, the results, the analysis, and the conclusion. I mean, scientific posters don't have to take this format, but it kind of helps. It's a kind of a straightforward way of doing it. So as you can see, this is a way of breaking up lots of text into digestible, manageable subsections. Here are 2 other examples of scientific poster templates that you can just go into Canva and use for yourself. Let me just see. Yeah, okay. I'm very quickly going to go back into Canva. Okay, so if I go to the home page and I type in scientific poster. I know you're not all scientists. I'm just going to do that as an example. So over here, I've got my templates, and these are the ones that I've worked on in the past. No, these are my projects that I've worked on in the past, and here's a selection of templates that Canva recommends if you type in scientific poster. And as you can see, this is one I was showing you earlier on. Some of them are very simple. Some of them are a bit more, how have a lot more information in them. So basically, you just go through and you choose the one that you want, and you can then, let's say I want to choose this one. I want to click on it and customize this template. And then basically I can change any aspect of this. I can change the wording here to say, research into X. And then, for example, here I can change these. I can double click on here and I could look up, let's say I wanted it to be, let's say we're doing something on drug research. So I would type it into the elements section, for example. I would go over here and I would type in drugs. And then let's say it's about illegal drugs. I could look at graphics and I could say, see all graphics. And I could say, well, let's say I want to choose this one. And I would just go and I would drag it over here. Okay, 1 second. Should be able to. It should just drag and drop into this section, but it's choosing not to. Anyway, you can often drag and drop into things. If it's not going to work, then I would just delete that and grab this and put it here. And I would shrink it down and do that like that. And I can change the position so that I could bring it to the forwards, but then it's hiding my words. So I put it backwards. So basically, you can move any of your elements around within your poster. So basically, you take a poster, take a template, and basically make it your own. Okay. So that's, in a very quick nutshell, that's how you do posters. The next is how to create websites. I'm going to gloss over this a little bit, partly because there's one coming up soon, and partly because Canva, as all websites do, has updated itself quite recently. And whereas I have made websites using Canva before, when I tried to do it today, this morning before the talk began, there were some aspects of it that I found quite non-intuitive. And that's because they've changed things. So I'm just going to talk to you briefly about how to create websites. I think the things to say about websites, there's a tendency, again, and I've seen this with many academic websites, to just throw absolutely everything at people, and that's not the best thing to do. Keep them really simple. So this is my own personal website or my company's website. Have strong titles that make it really clear what it's about, strong images so that the audience can look at it and immediately know what they're looking at, strong images, and use text very sparingly if you can. Now, I've just seen that there is a question. I'm going to have a quick look at what the question is. Question. Can you create templates on Canva that integrate your branding colors? Yes, you can create. So basically branding, yes. So with branding, there are two things to say. One is you can, of course, change the color of anything yourself. So for example, here, the background of this particular poster, if you wanted it to be your own colors, you click on the background here, you see the color here, and then you can go and choose your own color. And of course, you can add a new color or by doing this, and then you can put in your hash code for the actual color code from your brands. You can use a brand kit, which is a pro element of Canva. So you only can, in Canva Pro, you can upload your own branding, and then you can automatically apply it to all your stuff. And it's fairly straightforward. So you can change the color palette to be whatever you want, and there's gradients you can use, so that there's gradients. So yes, you can either do it manually if you are using Canva Basic, which is free, or for the £13 a month or £100 a year, you can upload your own branding to the Pro kit, and it's a lot more straightforward and a lot quicker.
You have another question, George, about is creating a newsletter delivered by email similar to creating a poster?
Um, yeah.
There are newsletter
Uh,
templates in Canva as well, aren't there?
exactly.
Yeah.
I haven't personally used Canva to create newsletters, but for example, if I go to 1 second, if I go here to my home page and I type in newsletter, um, there you go. There's
Lots
a
of templates. And there's a really
3,085 templates.
good grief. Wow. And there's a really good question here about copywriting issues. All these are free of copyright, aren't they? They're just templates.
Yeah. So Canva exists for you to use this stuff. That's why it exists.
Yeah.
And wants you to be able to use all this stuff. So no. There's no copyright to using these templates. Obviously, what you can't do is just go on to Google, type in image of a car, copy that image of a car if it's copyrighted to somebody else, import it into Canva and use it. You need to use either your own images, or what's very lucky about using Canva is that you go, I'm going to go to elements and I'm going to go to search elements. So if I say car, like I just mentioned, these images, because they're in Canva's library, are for you to use, and they are licensed for you to use if you want to. And this one, for example, I could put into my poster, and that doesn't have a crown on it, so that's free to use. Or because I have Canva Pro, if I wanted to use this picture here of a car, then I can use that one because I have Canva Pro, and so the little crown means that I can use it. If you don't have Canva Pro, but you love that car particularly, you can also drag it in, and then it gives you an option to pay for just one image use. So all of the images that come up when you type it in are copyright available for you to use in your projects. But if you go to Google, download an image you find on the internet, and then upload it, so you go to uploads, and then you upload files, and then you go and upload whatever it is that you found, you can't do that because if that image will be copyrighted.
That's standard copyright logic,
That's
isn't
just
it?
standard
It's
copyright
good to know that
practice.
there's no way of kind of bypassing that using Canva. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Okay. Here.
Another question there. Are the pictures always static on the website? Can you use reels?
Yes, there are moving images as well. You can use Reels. Yeah. Here we go. All the customers are bundling it. How free is basic Canva? It should be actually free. If you used it and it said you needed to subscribe to Pro, that's because you used an element in your birthday party invitation that had a crown on it, and
Yeah.
that would have meant that you were not able to then it became part of Canva Pro. So you just need, and there is a way on Canva of basically telling you what aspects you have in your design that are not part of the free package.
They're
So
quite
you then
clear
need,
on there. But I guess it's
yeah,
also their marketing model, isn't it? They're always going to tell you they'd love you to upgrade. That's where they make their
yeah,
money. But
exactly.
yeah, just
Yeah,
just be sharp, as you say, the little crowns help and work within
yeah,
it. And as you say, the worst case scenario is you pay per download, which I think
exactly. You
it
pay for
used
it.
to be 99 cents. I'm sure it's different now, but it used to be quite a small amount
I,
if you were
I think it
desperate
may
for
still
something.
be. Yeah,
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 cool. Thank you.
yeah. Okay. Um, have I got? I can't tell. Am I still sharing my slides? Yes. Okay.
No,
Okay. Um,
there you are. Yep.
yeah. Okay. That's where we were. Um, very basic website design rules. You put your important words at the top above what's called the fold. So websites, we scroll down the page, but anything we see when we immediately arrive at a page is above the fold. Your important words have to be above the fold. Yeah. Your design should guide visitors' eyes. When we look at websites, we read in two different ways. One is in a Z fashion, so we read across the top, then our eyes diagonally scan down the page and then read stuff lower down. Or F shape, which is we read the top line, we go back to the left-hand side, we go down a bit, and then we carry on reading across and down again. So given that people read in a Z or an F shape, you need to design your website so you are guiding people's eyes to the things that you want them to see, as opposed to just like chucking stuff on there, which is what a lot of people do. Negative space is really important on a website. People are tempted to just put too much on there, but actually sparse web pages allow the eyes to navigate towards the things that are actually important. Put less on a page to make it stand out. This is the thing I was having trouble with Canva this morning. Test your site on your computer, phone, and tablet. I was trying to do that this morning and I couldn't, and I can't figure out why, because they've changed something in Canva. The last time I tried, I could. The next is understand the purpose of your website as a whole, and specifically for each page should have a purpose of its own. People will typically say, well, I want my website to let people know what we're doing, about my research. But actually, guiding people to have to know or do something for each specific page is a really useful thing to do. So rather than just bundle tons of stuff, you could say, here's where people get in contact on this particular page. Here's where people can download a toolkit. Here's where people can read our blog. Here's where people can watch our videos. Here's where people can, and have a page for each one of those things. The absolute number one criminal thing that less experienced people do when they're making a website is they do not check that their website is easy to navigate. So create a website and then get someone else to navigate through it and tell you whether they found it easy to navigate, whether they found each page easy to understand, or were they confused. And very often people say, I found this confusing, and then you need to go and change something. Again, I'm not going to go into this in a lot of detail today, but what I'm going to just show you is in Canva, if you go to your templates page and you type in website, all of these websites come up that you can, these are templates that you can use to create your own websites, and you can literally just steal all this stuff, and you hold your mouse over it and you can see how it's going to load. And let's say I grab this one, it's a pro website. Let's say you say customize this, so create your own out of it. And then you basically have this. And now I don't know, actually I'm going to use this one. This is, you could just grab this and you could say, well, I'm going to, oh, it's got 8 pages. So here are all the different pages that can come up. And they're all sort of similar, but you could take this page and you can click up here and change this to videos, for example. And then you can right click on this. Oops, hold on a second. And you can right click on it and all these options come up, and then you can go to link. And then what you can do is you can link it to, for example, page 2 here, which is called about, but you can change page 2 to videos like this. And then this is page 2. And if you launch your website and you click on that, it will take you here, for example. Again, oh, here it is, publish website preview. So this allows you to preview what your website is like, and here's what you can preview your website and see what it's like on mobile phones. This is what I was having trouble with early on, but for some reason it's now fine. So it's always important to see what your website will look like on like this, website on a laptop or a computer and on a mobile phone, because sometimes you'll design it for this format and it looks great, and then you go here and it looks terrible. So you need to always check to make sure that it's phone and laptop friendly. Yeah, and when you're ready, you can publish it. You can buy your website domains through Canva if you want, or you can buy it through another source, and you can just get Canva to connect to it. Right, questions have come in. Any tips for searching and choosing a template from all those available? No, I don't have a tip. I think you need to try some out, which is what I've done in the past. I go through and I see what I like. To be honest, I make my websites through Squarespace or Wix because I find them, I like the designs of them. I've used them for years. So I don't typically design a website through Wix. I use other platforms, but Wix and Squarespace aren't free. So you have to kind of get used to how to use them. And the benefit of using them, they're going to go into this in a couple of weeks' time. The benefit of Wix and Squarespace is they do your search engine optimization for you, and they also prevent people hacking your website. So they get all the security sorted out for you, whereas I have no idea what happens when you try to launch a website that you've created in Canva through Canva, but I suspect that they may not sort out your security for you, which is a big
George,
deal.
I'd probably use Canva, George, to mock it up, to kind of get a feel
Yeah,
for the logic of the website, what it should do, where it should go. And all the things you were doing then, it's like, what happens when I click on this link? What does it look like? So you could do all that mapping in Canva really easily, and
yeah,
then maybe look at someone else. We're going to talk about this on the website, but maybe someone
yeah,
else could then put it into WordPress for you, for example. But it's a bit like going to get your hair cut as a woman. You have to actually have a photo. This is what I want. Canva is great for the
yeah,
here is what I want.
yeah,
Rather than that daunting kind of blank space. You have another question about using Canva for booklets, PDFs, and multiple pages. I mean, the
yeah,
answer is yes, isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
anything visual you want to create, there's a template for that.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, literally, there's you basically go into Canva and you go to templates and you type in what you want and you go, what call it? Oops, it's kind of a bit weird. Sorry, you know, type in booklet and all these options will come up. Product catalog, for example, employee handbook, business company profile. I mean, there's just, and again, there are 424 that pop up when you do that. And so there will be something for you, for your style. And of course, you're going to be customizing it anyway. So there's just so many
But it
options
just takes
around.
the blank sheet away because we all start a project like that. You've got to create a poster or you've got to create a booklet or do a newsletter. And you're immediately like,
Yeah,
oh my God, where do I start? And if you just scroll through those designs, you'll go, oh,
yeah,
I love the
yeah,
flow of that, or I hate the flow of that one. And it just
yeah.
helps you form what good could look like.
Yeah. And if you had been working with a graphic designer, just getting a kind of template idea would have already cost you thousands of pounds. I mean, that's what's
Yeah.
amazing about it. It gets you to the starting, it gets you past the starting line to, three-quarters of the way down the track before you even,
Well, then
add in
you
your own
focus on the
content.
important thing, which is, as you say,
Yeah,
the
exactly.
simplicity, the words, the language, the audience. You can spend a lot
Yeah,
more time thinking
exactly.
about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to move on to slides. For talks, this is kind of what I was talking about, slides for talks. Whenever I do a talk, straight into Canva every single time. Here are just a few points to mention. Academics, you all know, you've been to conferences, they just throw everything onto one slide and it's really confusing. Basically, the best policy is each slide should have one idea. Keep it simple. It's better to have more slides with one idea per slide because otherwise what happens is you put a slide up there with tons of information on it. People are just reading it and they're not listening to you because they're trying to do both things. Read your slide with all this info, listen to you, and then in the end, they're not really paying attention to either one or the other. Consistent style, font, and colors. Well, that's what Canva is for, which is great. Sorry. And this is, if they're spending too long on the slide, they're not listening to you. So that's what I was trying to get at. Okay. I'm just looking at the question. Is there a template on LinkedIn or LinkedIn headers, please? Well,
Yes,
yes,
I'd
yes,
use
there is
those.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And how does Canva deal with accessibility features, for example, compatibility with screen readers? That is a very good question, and I don't actually know the answer to that. I
I
just,
don't know how well evolved it is. I know it's something they do address, but I
yeah,
don't know how broad that coverage is.
I don't know the answer to that. And it's a very good question. I would have to go and look that up.
I'll
Um,
take that away as something we'll put into the
okay,
platform
yeah,
later.
yeah, okay, yeah. So here is an example. Can you still see my slides here?
Yes.
Yes, great, thanks. So slides, you just type into your slides, into your what you want to create, or you click presentation here, and lots of different slides come up. You can also, if you in Canva Pro, which has an AI function, you can actually type into this box, slide presentation, psychology, drug abuse, which is what I tried doing, and it will literally spit out an AI produced talk for you on the psychology of drug abuse. Now, it will be rubbish because AI is not that good. And of course, it won't know what research that you want to put in there, but it will. I mean, it's a starting point. You can try it. I don't think it's there yet, but I think it's kind of fun. And again, I am going to.
And I've used AI to create some really mad images. They have all these different filters. So you can go kind of cartoony or film noir. You can really have some
Yeah,
fun with
exactly.
imagery in the
Yeah.
AI.
Um, so, there are absolutely, how many are there? 20,000 different templates for talks. And, as you hold your mouse over it, you can see there are 14 slides in this particular one, as it's basically showing you what all the different slides will look like. As you can see, they're all designed to look part of the same design, the same colors, fonts, and all that sort of thing. If I click on this, it comes up and I can say customize this template. And then I could change any aspect of this template that I want. I type in my own words here. This thing I can either get rid of it if I don't like. So I could say apply all 14 pages, and there they are. So let's say I can go to this one. I can, so it's taking a while to catch up. I don't want this image. I want to go over here to my elements or my own uploads. And again, I want to put a tree kangaroo in here. There we go. That's my mission. I'll put this golden beetle in here.
What you're showing here,
Can
George,
I
is there's a
change all of
standard logic, isn't there? Once you know the groove of where you
this?
find the
Exactly.
components, every single thing
Yeah,
you build is built in the same way.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. Yeah, exactly. So you can change any single aspect of it. You can do this template style. You can click on that, and you can change the template style. This one might not have many different options, but some of these templates. Let's see if this one will work. Okay, apply all 18 pages and then go back to design. So I can change the template style, and I click on this, and it gives me the next option along. So it's just changing the basic color version. So again, there are so many different options and ways to customize your own project. Can you save the presentation as a PDF? Yes, that's exactly what you do. It's very, very straightforward to save your presentation as a PDF. So let's say you're done. You go share up in this corner, and then you download it. And it says PDF standard, for example, or you can flatten the PDF. So you just do that and you download it. It's very straightforward. Very, very simple to do that. It only takes a little while to find all of these different oops. I'm just having a look at the Q&A.
You can leave that one for
Okay.
me. I shall get back to that person. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So that was slides. Diagrams. I mean, again, I'm going to only go into this very quickly. Creating diagrams, you go into the search box and you select diagram template or infographic template. I'm going to go into that in a lot more detail later on. And all of these things pop up. So in a way, there's not much point in me going into this in a lot of detail. It's the same as before. You click on it, you customize it, you put your own words, your own images, and you basically turn it into your own thing, but the design has been done for you. Same with CVs. And again, I'm not going to go into this in a huge amount of details. It's exactly the same. There's lots of CV templates available for you. What I want to say about CVs is if you're going to create a CV, nowadays, when you apply for a job, if you want to create a CV, the CV design appearance, the look of it says something about you. It's not just the content within it, but how you present the CV also says something about you. In an academic setting, we wouldn't necessarily go super fancy in terms of graphics, because I think the people, you also have to think about the audience for your CV. They might look at it and go, why is it so kind of fancy and over the top with kind of colors when all I'm really interested in is what they've done? So the question is this, for example, appropriate for an academic job? The answer is maybe, maybe not. If that's the person that you are, maybe you should do that. But on the whole, it's less important. Be concise. You don't have to put absolutely everything into your CV. I know academics tend to do that. Make them easy to read. That's what's great about Canva. It breaks everything down into subsections that makes it easier to read. So it's not just reams and reams of text. And keep it relevant for the job you're applying for. That's what I kind of mentioned. This is an example of an academic CV that's still actually quite well put together. This isn't made with Canva. So I'm saying here is a kind of way of breaking down your subsections of your CV. Now go into Canva and try and find a muted example of a CV template so that it's not really over the top. Just because of time and how much time we've got, I'm not going to go into this in a lot of detail, but because this is recorded, you will be able to see this template if it's important for you. To be honest, I just nicked this straight off of Oxford, an Oxford website, because it's really well constructed for an academic CV. How to create videos. You can create amazing videos using Canva, but, and it's a big but. So you can create simple dynamic videos easily. The trouble is editing videos is quite difficult in Canva. They're ideal for social media, but if you're trying to do anything more complicated than that, I don't recommend using Canva as an editing platform for videos. If you're trying to create the kind of video that you see on social media all the time, where an image comes up, some words move in, and then they all disappear, that kind of like, it's almost like a sort of a moving slideshow type of video thing. It can still have video clips in it. Then Canva is a useful way of creating videos. But if you're trying to edit what people are saying, Canva is quite a clunky way of creating edited videos. So Canva is quick, easy, and stylish as a way of creating short social media videos. But it's still ultimately an animated slideshow. I think it's worth playing with and finding out what its limitations are. Yes, I have used it, but for the kind of videos that I tend to create, no, I rarely use it. 1 second, let me just show you an example. Templates. And I'm going to click that. And I'm going to go to all templates, and I'm going to go and click on videos. And here's a bunch of videos. So it could be a Facebook video, video messages, mobile phone video, YouTube videos. Let's just click on that and see what comes up. And just tons of things come up. You hold your mouse over it and you see the kind of template that pops up, where you go over this nature one and you see what comes up. Let's just click on this. Customize this template. So similar to how Canva works, it will give you a video here, and if I drag this across, it will show you how it's going to look as it moves. I can then add something. So I'm adding another section to my video, and let's say I might then go to my uploads, where I've got all my own video content that I have created. I click video here, or upload file. You can upload your own file. You click upload your own videos, and let's say after that, I want, this is some videos I use as an example of how to record good audio. So let's say I then want to drag this into here, and so let's say that's my next video, and then let's say I want to put this in as my third video, and I drop this in. Sorry, there's a helicopter going overhead. I do apologize if it's very loud.
No, it's fine.
So you can literally create videos like this. You can make it shorter, or or make it its full length, so you can make the video shorter. I mean, this is how clunky the editing is. It's okay, but it's not absolutely amazing. And then you go back here and you could play your video, and you can zoom through. And so here's the title page, and then it's going to go into me talking about how to record audio, and then a cutaway of the audio recording equipment. So you can drag and drop things into your timeline. and create a video like this. It's clunky, but actually it can be quite a useful thing to do. You can go back to your template and add something else to it. So here's an example of I have used this one. Let me just go back to.
This links to Jim's question because Jim's asking, is it GoPro compatible? I guess you just download your GoPro video and
like any footage that you record on any camera, you can upload it. And mostly gone are the days when the format of video footage was an issue. Almost every editing platform can now handle almost any kind of video. So I am just quickly going, I'm slightly wary of running out of time. So I'm going to look at my projects, category, and video. So here's some that I've worked on in the past. And here, I made this in Canva, just so you see, and I'll play this for you. So what's good about this is, so I've dragged my own video footage in here, and then these words pop up and I can change the words. It was playing a little bit clunky because I think it's not happy about being played while being watched through Zoom. But you can change, so you can create these quite good videos using this system, but it is a bit clunky. And to be honest,
it's simple, but I think it's quite fresh and it's very easy.
It's very fresh, very easy. It's basically very social media friendly.
Yeah.
And that's why you do it. If you're creating a more complicated video, you do not use Canva, but it's great for certain things. Right. Social media posts. I'm not going to go into, again, much detail because you just go back into Canva, you type in where you want to make your post, and you choose your platform and the type of post you're going to do. It comes up with dozens of templates, and it makes your posts look like they've been professionally designed and really appealing and attractive to the eye. Choose your platform. What's great about Canva Pro is that the AI feature allows you to take a post that you've written, let's say it's for Twitter. I don't call it X because I refuse to call it X. That's because I don't really like where it's going. So I'm referring back to what it was called. Let's say you've made something on Twitter, a post for Twitter. The AI function of Canva will allow you to, with a press of a button, reformat it so that it's a LinkedIn post or so that it's an Instagram stories post. It's really clever. It's really quick. It keeps you able to post on lots of different platforms with very similar looking content to keep your branding, if you have branding in your academic project, keep your branding all looking very similar. Yeah. Again, you go here, templates, social media, and then you can click on the kind of posts that you want. So it's X or Twitter post templates, and all of these things pop up, and you can choose the ones that you like the look of. Because of the amount of time that we've got left, I want to zoom into design basics, because this is still about Canva, but it's about making sure that when you're creating things in Canva, you're creating it with design basics in mind, so that you are making the most appealing to the eye, easy to read, easy to absorb information posts that you can. Design as a concept can be learned, but I think it's really important to look at good design wherever you are. Look at what other people are doing well and study what it is about what they've done, and then incorporate those kind of ideas into what you're doing. Get advice from other people. And what I mean by that is, well, there might be people in your department who are good at this sort of thing, and you can get their advice. But take advice, meaning when you design something, go and show it to other people, friends, colleagues, and get their opinion. Does this work? Does this not work? If they say, I find this a bit confusing, then your design isn't ready to use and to publish. So here are some very, very basic design rules. There was a study that's found that these are the two most popular movie posters ever made. The design of these posters is really great. So here's some design rules, and look at these posters and see if you can see how these people have used all of these different things. Space. The Jaws poster especially has not over-cluttered the poster. It's used a lot of negative space, meaning there's a lot of places in the poster where it's not using anything, so that your eye is drawn to the very few things that they want you to see: the shark, the woman swimming, and the word. In the Raiders of the Lost Ark poster, space is still used brilliantly. There's the figure in the middle of Indiana Jones, and everything else is slightly to the side so that your eye is drawn to that. Balance, again, it's kind of an aspect of space. Where do you put things in the poster so that the eye is drawn to it? And hierarchy is kind of another aspect of the same thing. Hierarchy, you look at the title. Remember, we're reading it like a Z or an F, that kind of thing. We look at the top, and then our eye is drawn to the next thing that's really important, which is the shark or Indiana Jones. And then the eye will carry on to, terrifying #1 bestseller, the names of the actors. That's all it is on that poster, the hierarchy. How do they use lines and shape? The Jaws poster in particular uses lines and shape really well. Color, the Raiders of the Lost Ark poster uses color really well. It's taken a color kind of design motif and stuck with it. There's no green, there's no blue. Yeah, it's all aspects of one particular color. Whereas the Jaws uses muted colors apart from the word Jaws, which is kind of obviously meant to represent the blood that's about to happen. Typography is really important. I won't go into that in a lot of detail. Just think about great typography. Yeah. Show it to other people. Has it worked? Texture. I'm not going to go into that in a lot of detail today, but there's texture of that Raiders of the Lost Ark poster. Making things not feel 2D, making them feel 3D if you can, is kind of an aspect of that. And making sure you get your branding right, or the university's branding right. Make sure that you are doing that correctly, and thinking about that from the very beginning. So those are kind of the very basics. When you're designing anything in Canva, think about all of those things. Think about how it is that you are using design to create a poster or a set of slides or whatever it is that is appealing. Play with it. Create some, don't spend too long on it. Create some ideas, create some examples, and then grab someone and say, what do you think of this? Does this work for you? If not, what's not working for you? And then make those changes. Because if it's not working for that one person you dragged in to have a look at it, it might not work for lots of other members of your audience. Yeah, get some opinions. And that goes back to the question that people asked earlier on about it being compliant with it being hard to read or hard to view for certain people with screen-related. I can't remember exactly how they put it, but for example, I know that colorblind people are very keen that you design that takes into consideration people who are colorblind or people who are autistic and find certain aspects of design harder to view. It's worth thinking and asking multiple people, does this work for you? And if not, why not? And one of the very common things that you see on websites designed by all kinds of people is that they'll have colors which don't work over a certain background. So they'll have a white background and they'll use yellow words over the top of it, which are just really hard to see. So you need to be thinking about all aspects of design for inclusivity if you can. I want to talk just very briefly about the benefits of Canva Pro, which is, I think it's gone up by 1p. I think it's now £13 per month. So there are several. You can import a photo and then you can remove the background so that it automatically cuts stuff out for you. And that can be useful when you're designing whatever it is you're designing. There is a huge library available of images, videos, templates, and backgrounds for you to use that you can't get with Canva Basic. I mean, and they do this obviously deliberately so that you want to sign up to Canva Pro. But I've tried designing stuff in Canva Basic and you can do a pretty good job. But what inevitably happens is you go, well, all of the elements that I would like to put into my presentation are better with Canva Pro. Why not sign up for 1 month? It's £13. It's affordable, and then you quit your sign up, and you just download everything before you quit, and it only costs you £13, which isn't too bad. The AI engine we were talking, Lucy and I were talking about this before the course today started. It's pretty good at creating images. It's pretty good at creating like a talk for you, but it's not very good at creating a talk for you. It will get better at that sort of thing. But it's pretty good at that. What it's also really good at is, I think I was describing earlier on, is getting, a Twitter post to turned into a LinkedIn or a Instagram stories post. It's good at doing that for you so that you don't have to redesign it for a different format. It's good at building a brand kit, which someone asked about earlier on. So if you're going to create lots of stuff in Canva Pro, you can upload your brand elements, and then you've got a brand kit, and you click on it, and it will automatically change a whole talk's colors and look and appearance so that it is your brand compliant, very quick and easy. I've just talked about repurpose to other social platforms. I think the number one thing is way better photos, videos, templates, and backgrounds. That's the kind of number one thing for me, and all the other stuff is also pretty good. But that's the number one thing by far from me. Okay, great. That's what we've talked about. In theory, we have as much time as I guess you need to ask questions. But these are the things, these are the 10 things that we talked about today. And I'm very happy to answer any more questions if anyone has any. Or if you want me to show you something in Canva, I can try to do that quickly as well.
Yeah, go for it. While people are thinking about any questions, George, if you have anything that you'd like to show us, because I think the logic is it's a great tool. It has a logic. So once you get your head around its logic and how it thinks,
Yeah,
it becomes limitless. So all those things you just aren't getting done or you
exactly.
rely on someone else
Yeah,
to do, you can just do. You
yeah.
just need to spend maybe half an hour. It's very quick
It's
to
very
get your
quick.
head around the
Yeah,
logic.
yeah,
It's very intuitive, isn't it? That's the key thing.
yeah,
That's why it's so popular. Something like I think we said last week, like 130 million users or something.
yeah,
It's huge.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, I'm just going to
We
uh,
have a
uh,
question about the icon for apps on the left-hand side.
Uh, oh, yes. Okay. Um, I was having a look at this earlier on, and I don't use this content planner. So the content planner is basically, it helps you to if you're the kind of person who thinks, and this is often for brand management, brands need to be producing like almost daily content, certainly weekly content, whether you do or not. Yeah, I think that you do need to be creating content every week as an academic. I personally believe you need to be talking to your audiences about, because that's how part of the way you achieve impact. So you can schedule in here. I don't know if this is a pro function or not, because I've got pro account. I'm not sure if it is or not, but you can schedule in all of the different content that you want to create. And it's got, National Hamburger Day, if that's relevant to what kind of content you might create, or International Day Against Homophobia, transphobia, and biphobia. If you want, it has a whole bunch of suggestions for you here. So you plan in your designs. It's Canva Pro. So this is, for example, if you have a team of people all working together, they can all be contributing to the creation of content and the scheduling of it and sending it out there. I have to admit, I haven't used these mock-ups yet, but
I've seen those used though. You see people put that on social, don't you? Kind of like, here's what our
yeah,
website looks like, and it's mocked up on there.
exactly. Yeah.
And we've got another
Trending
question about
apps.
images on
Yep.
here as well. And images,
Yep.
is back the access specific images of artworks. I think we're back to the comment you made earlier, George, about the fact that as long as you've got the rights to use those images, you can upload them into Canva.
You can upload anything into Canva, and
Yeah.
if it's copyrighted, you can still upload it. What I'm saying is you need to be, as I'm sure most of you know, you need to be alert and aware of copyright. So what most talks I've been to that academics give, they are breaking copyright at some point. It matters. So I'm telling you always to be copyright compliant. That's my official job. However, I see people breaking it all the time. If you are giving a talk in a room to a bunch of people and the talk slides will never leave that room, I'm not telling you it's better to break copyright in that situation at all. But of course, that's why people do it in that situation. If, however, you are going to upload your talk slides to a public place, then you are very much breaking copyright, and you need to be careful. So you can upload anything you can download. You can upload it into Canva and put it into anything you want, but you have to just be careful not to break copyright law. There is, of course, as some of you will know, the issue of fair use for educational purposes. Now, I don't want to be the person who tells you about that in a kind of legal sense, but because there's all kinds of websites that will do that. But there is what's known as fair use for educational purposes. And you can always argue the case that I've done this fair use for educational purposes, put this copyright thing in my talk. I have recently been listening to a podcast I'm just going to stop this. A website called History of Rock Music in 500 Songs. This guy has literally done the most incredible podcast. 500 songs he's chosen, and he does like half an hour on each song. It's going to take him 10 years to do this podcast. He is using music from all over the place. He does not have copyright to do that, but he argues fair use because it's for educational purposes. So he just takes a 30-second clip of that piece of music, puts it in his and puts it in his podcast and argues educational fair use. If you take Taylor Swift's latest song and use it as the background of the music, video that you make, and you stick it on YouTube, you will very quickly get a cease and desist email from YouTube threatening you with the closure of your account. So you have to obey copyright rules, but there is such thing as educational fair use. But don't take my word for it, because I am not legally, I'm not going to be the person who legally is responsible for having told you this.
I like your disclaimer.
You have to do your own you have to do your own due diligence, basically.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you, George. I know that was a whiz through Canva. I think fundamentally get those basics right. Have a look at the way it thinks its logic. There's loads of great videos, which are some of those assets we're going to put onto the platform. And we've got more of your brain picking to come next week. So my key ask of everyone is to make sure you've got the future sessions in your diary, sign up to the platform, have had a question about some of the accessibility for that platform, which I'm going to look at after this, and share the resources, talk to us. I mean, and once you've gone out to play with Canva, show us what you've created. Show us how much fun you've had, or come back to us with any questions. I mean, George is going to be on the platform as well, but send us an email, let us know how you're getting on. But thank you all very much for your time. That is the end of Canva. And George, we shall see you again this time next week.
Thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you soon.